Hello guys, welcome to the live stream. I'm joined with Spineweilder from
Hello.
the OSRS wiki. Today we're going to talk about everything Zeah. Let's get the map here really quickly so you can see what we're going to talk about. Here we are. Okay, so first off, we want to talk about the brief history of Zeah. And then the extra Kaba stuff. So yeah, do you want to begin or do I have to begin with the Zeah stuff?
Yep. So yeah, where do we begin? What is Zeah? Well, Zeah is a large continent west of the mainland, where all the cities where everyone knows and loves, like Varrock, Lumbridge, all the way west, as you see on the map right here. That large continent. So, how did this came to be? Well, first, it was first 2014 by Mod Reach, and he put out a devlog in late November talking about a new continent that he wanted to make, and 2 years later, in 2016, then it came to release, and that's pretty much development of Zeah, and it is far different. Yes.
Okay. Should I talk about the lore itself, or do you want to do that part? The Star Wars and such. Okay.
Yeah, quickly touch how it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Spinwell just told us the how it was made and by whom and when, and I'm just gonna give you guys a little history lesson about when, about how Zeah came to be, who went to Zeah and why. So, in the Third Age, we had the God Wars, and most of the, as you can see here on the map, this all used to be there used to be a big forest here, and everything got destroyed in the God Wars, and some farmers decided to leave the continent altogether because their houses were destroyed, the farms were destroyed. So they went from Port Sarim, or any ports, yeah, I think it's Port Sarim. They went to Zeah, and they founded the three houses Lofakenji, Archaeus, and Port Puscaradius.
Yep.
And we don't know much about the history before the other two houses came from the Fourth Age, and they made House Shazin and House Osidius. And meanwhile, a Dragon King was in Mount Coryllium and doing experiments.
Yeah, that one we will talk about a little bit later. Yeah, but so as he said, the Shazin and the Hosidius houses were founded much later during Dragonkin conflicts 2,000 years ago in the Fourth Age. That's when the refugees were fleeing from the Dragonkin threat into Zeah, and that's how all the five houses. And eventually, under King Rada I, then he united all the five houses into what is Great Karen today, about 1,500 years ago. So that's just a quick run up of how Great Karen is, and then basically a lot of things happened, like the Winter Toad, which happened about 1,400 years ago.
Yeah,
that's when and then the King Shazin VII, which I'd like to talk about that one. Let's see. He was a king ruled the 32nd decade, which is 1,090 years ago, and he basically took control of Great Karen, and he basically was an asshole. He ran a lot of experiments on people, and And one of these things he wanted to do was expand the territory of the kingdom. So there's nowhere else to go but west. So he wanted an expedition there to go check out what it is. Yeah, so just zoom in on there.
Yeah. That would be with me. No, I'm gonna open the Photoshop. You just
yeah. So, so basically, he sent a party of a few people to visit the mountain, Mount Quidam. That's where the Chambers of Zarek would be later. But this expedition, they never returned. So, because they all died, basically. So, this is where the mountain gets its name, Mount Quida Mortem, which in Latin means certain death. But, despite the failure of this expedition, he had presumably ordered to construct a temple on the west side of the mountain. This is where this is the cave that you visit during the quest Tale of the Righteous. So in this temple, you get an unstable altar which gives off the same power as the Dark Altar, and you can also see, if you go there, you also see a little bit of some lizards, and which are the bases of the lizard men. Of course, no one knew about this until you discover it during the quest.
So we got that part done. About the quest series, the things that changed about that you talked about.
Yeah, you can also go over the two new ones. The one that
okay.
Yeah, we can.
Shall I talk about Feas and his changes? Or do you want to talk about Feas and his changes? The changes on Feas' dialogue and such.
Yeah, I want to go over the two new quests that came out, and so 2 weeks ago you had the Kebos Lowlands release, and you finished. There's two new quests: the Ascent of Arceus and the what is it called? The Forsaken Tower. Yes. So basically, let's just go over it quick, but I like to go over this really quick, so you won't be like out of the loop. So you basically the Winter Toad, the doors that imprison the Winter Toad, is supposedly failing, and you discover the cause that there's a hole in the door, so that's why the Winter Toad is getting more powerful, and that's why you have to do that with your fire making stuff. But to repair it, one of the dwarves needed a hammer which is found in the tower, and he says something towards the line of that it's with what was it?
You thought that someone damaged the is also crashing, so that's not a really good sign. Yeah, we're back. Okay.
Are you back?
Yeah, we're back.
So yeah, basically in the tower, if you followed the quest guides on the wiki or Slayer Music 1, you probably miss something they wouldn't tell you. In the ground, in one of the crates on the ground, there is you can search one of the crates, ancient, which is you want to pull it up so people can read it,
guys. Here is it.
Yeah. Move it a little to the. Yep. So this is what the letter contains. Basically, it's after Zarek's exile to the Kebos Lowlands, and when he starts making the Chambers of Zarek. So you see the offer, this High Priest Mysterio. If all you raiders out there probably know that's referring to Vasa Mysterio, the guy with like the rocks with legs or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it talks about trying to find some things in the tower that could be useful for Zarek. And the offer, Zamfer, is one of Zarek's closest aides. So he's one of the most closest to Zarek in like his inner circle and stuff. So you probably so you probably missed that if you were using like a Slayer music one or like the wiki guides. You probably missed one of these. Just a little stuff.
Yeah, I also missed it in my guide, so
yeah,
fun to read about it again. So yeah, for just quickly about Xeric, because we're talking about the Xeric and all this equipment. If he ever comes into the game, it will be insane because he's got all this really strong equipment. Because only the hammer was strong enough to make the doors of Din. So yeah, imagine what the other stuff he had here.
So yeah, just if he could break the doors, just if it was him, which is speculation.
Yeah.
Just imagine what. Yeah, but then we are then brought to the next quest, the Ascent of Arceus.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's how you pronounce it, Arceus.
Yeah, Arceus, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, in Arceus, you find a dead body of an Arceus citizen. Well, that's not supposed to happen because 1,000 years ago, after Zarek's exile, Lord Trobin Arceus, the leader of the Arceus house, figured out how to make everyone immortal. So he gave all the citizens a choice. Hey, you want to be immortal? Just tell me or not. So, yep, using the power of the Dark Altar.
Yeah, you basically.
They became immortal, and for some reason recently during the quest, you find out that the Dark Altar is failing for some reason, and the son of Lord Arceus, Asteros, I think Asteros, yes.
Yeah, I think.
Yep. Right, so he tells you a secret that no one else but him and his father know, is that his dad, Lord Arceus, didn't actually figure out how to achieve immortality. Rather, he got the secret from the Tasakal, who are the three big Tazar golems things that you see when you go in the Slayer dungeon on the Mount Karum. Yep, those are the Tasakal. So he went to them and basically said, just help save my wife, my dying wife.
Yeah.
So it's like, and they're like, okay, here, have the secret. So he saved his wife, and he also abused the knowledge that the Tassagal gave him, and so that's why they kind of hate him. So you go there and you do a favor for them, basically, in short, and they tell you why it's failing. So because someone had put a device there near the altar that's absorbing all its power. So you have to go break it to save the Arceus people. But if you do raids and stuff, you'll probably figure out that when you destroy the device, the chat box will show you that it looks very much suspiciously like a dark reward from the Chambers of. That's it's a pretty strong evidence that Zarek was behind sabotaging the Arceus.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's not. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Let's go.
Are we back?
Ahead. Yeah.
Yep. Zarek is DDoSing us.
Yeah. Fuck Zarek.
Yeah. Let's just put it at that. Okay. So where was I? I was talking about the memoirs.
Yeah.
So you pages you get from them, and you basically Mod West has put Easter eggs that you can use when you read these memoirs. The daughter of the last king, Rose, talks about her going-ons, and she talks about these certain people that you can actually find in game and use the book on them, and you get some extra dialogue. And so for like the Hosidius quest, you can use it on Farmer Agricola in the Typh farm, And for the Queen of Thieves, the Piscarius quest, you can use it on the Swamp Priest in the Zarek's Shrine in Kebos. And then for the Shazen, the Tale of the Righteous, you can use it on a Gravedigger, just at the western end of the Shazen house. He's a ghost, so you need a Ghostspeak amulet. And then you can talk to it. You use the book on an old door, which is who is found just between just and there's the book on Alyssa, who's a new NPC in the ground floor. Her dialogue's most interesting because she's the personal maid, Rose, the princess of Kuran. So if you all 5 pages of these, you find out that she just talks about how you're just like looking through her looking through someone's diary without like permission. But if you don't know, there is a 6th page of the memoirs that you can get from the memoirs. So you use a knife on the memoir and you get a secret page, which basically says that Rose probably isn't insane, and then how the king was actually killed. So once you have this 6th page, which actually doesn't add any more charges to it, so if you use it on Alyssa, you'll find out that she has some more extra dialogue. And she tells you.
What's the name of the 6th page?
It's called the secret page. Okay. So yeah. So she has extra dialogue if you have the 6th page also added.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, they're on the wiki if you want to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically all the stuff that's for new. That's all the new stuff that's for current.
Okay. So let's see what we got here. We have yeah, I want to talk about the upcoming rework of Osidious, if you want to. I'll just put up a page of how it would look. They already put a rework on the yeah, it's on your wiki page, so you have it here. I am going to put it on the screen right now. So I just want to, this is the speculation part. I just want to talk a little bit about what we can see on the map and what it would change. So I hope it works. It work. Here we are. Okay, so here we got the Osidious house. Can you also see it, Spineweilder?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so lots of things have changed in front of the. Can I just? Oh, wait, yeah. Okay. We're gonna see the Current Castle in the north left corner, and we can see more towers, or what could it be?
Which part of it?
Next to the Wayfarers camp, or just buildings.
Yeah, I think they're usually just like a soldiers' quarters.
Yeah, okay. So we can see Shazin patrols everywhere. So I don't know if the Shazin is stronger now, or if there's something with that. What do you think? Or
yeah, I think it's just like more make it look more like, make the city look more alive.
That's true. A really good addition, in my opinion, is the farmers market. They really give some more atmosphere to the game. I'm all for that. I really want more atmosphere in the game, just more. Doesn't need to be real content in there. Just if we could get more like cities and more people walking through the cities, and more like houses, just houses with some pictures in it. That would be my opinion, would be really fun.
Mhm.
So what I'm really excited about is the old fort down, yeah, down in the south, the old fort where the bank is right now. Yeah, probably some really good lore that you could explore.
Mhm.
I thought it would be in the Cabos update, but it didn't do it. So
Thank you. Well, they didn't pull it, so
nah, that's
it
true.
wouldn't make sense to actually put this all in.
I was watching the live stream and I saw this map just coming past the screen, so I was hyped for a bit.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, what's more to talk about right here?
Yeah, let's bring up to all what the changes were. So like 2 days ago, I found like Mod Ed changed a lot of stuff on the text. So if you notice on the world map, they removed a lot of the names of the houses, so they're now just called Hosidius rather than a Hosidius house. And most of the books that are found in the library, they no longer refer to Corinth as a city. They refer to them as a kingdom. Yeah, but probably the biggest one is the client of Corinth. Before the Kebos update, if you use the Ring of Charos from the Garden of Tranquility quest, you could ask the client who he is, and he would tell you that like something about being able to resist Charos's magic, but he was impressed that you were able to figure that out, so he just tells you that he is Zarek. But with the Kebos update, Ed removed this, and he basically retconned it, so it's not canon. But the reason for this, because during Tale of the Righteous, during the end of the quest, one of the archaeologists tells you that like Zarek might possibly be alive because of the altar here you found in the red cave, and your player just says, "Oh, that won't be good," and as if you forgot that you did talk to Zarek himself. Yeah. So Ed just retconned it and just said, all he'll say now is all Veos client will say is all in due time or all in good time. So yeah, that's one of the big ones. So yeah, retconning Zarek.
Yeah, probably just giving them more space to make other quests.
Yeah,
but they can make like a big reveal.
And also like if you don't know during the Tale of the Righteous, you go into this small archive in the library where there's a lot of stuff that's changed, but before we go into that, we like to go into the books here, the books from the you probably use like the Rune Light or like Wilkes's library thing, but you never actually read them probably. But there's a lot of change passages here Mod Ed did to just like make things like make sense, like like I said earlier, the city to change it to kingdom, and also the change in some dialogue they refer to the Current as a republic because it's not ruled by a king anymore, and all those references were removed, so every reference now like to Current is referred to as a kingdom. So just more about like making sense and all that. And let's see what else is here. A lot of the books here are from like Zarek, the Chambers of Zarek, and from the library. They removed a lot of the old stuff here, like in one of the books, the one for the Soul Bearer head thing. Mod Ed removed the passage about having the gods grant extra favor, like prayer experience. That's because the Archaeus are pretty much atheists. They don't worship any gods. And in other books, like they removed a lot of the references to the Dark Altar. Like I showed you. Like let's see here. Like in the where is it? In the let's see. In the King Burned the First speech in the library archive, the Chronicles of Zarek in Chapter 8. let's see. He says, "For we have been oppressed, and in just 7 short days we have driven Zarek and his lizardmen beyond our kingdom." That's what the current text. But previously, Bond Ed removed the text that says, "And we also destroyed the altar of darkness from which they drew their power." And many other texts here also removed references about Zarek and the Dark Altar for some reason. That's a kind of...
Very surprising, yeah.
yeah, it's a little suspicious.
Yeah. It's not canon anymore that they destroyed the temple around the Dark Altar. That's really. Did you also talk about Tecton, or?
Oh yeah, Tecton. Oh yeah, I forgot about Tecton. Yes. So in his journal, if you kill Tecton in the Chambers of Zarek, you can get his journal, and just not much changes there in the text besides the city, changing the city to kingdom. But one part of the text in Tecton's journal, he says he transferred Tecton's mind into the new body, his current body. But Mod Ed changed it to Tecton's soul, which is probably just referencing like Arceus and their work on souls, which I found pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he still has his mind isn't mindless because he can still think. At least he said that he had a new body, so that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we had some. We already talked about the stereo.
But yeah, I talked about the changing of the offer, right? In the library archive and the Chronicles of Zarek. Oh yeah. Here it is. In chapter 2 of this text, the offer was changed from Lord Arceus the 13th. XIII is 13th, right? Yes. So Lord Arceus the 13th, and they just Lord Piscarelius without any numbered Roman numerals behind it. And one paragraph was removed from this, which was talking about the Dark Altar. So I'm just going to read you the text that was removed from this passage. Here you go. It's our recent studies of the Dark Altar suggest the energy within it can be harnessed to control and mutate the living, and we believe this being known as Zarek has, through means unknown, unlocked this power. So I find it pretty weird for Ed to remove that.
Yeah, because.
But then again, the offer is Lord now. It's Lord Piscarelius, so it probably doesn't make sense for someone for Piscarelius to be something that's probably Arceus related.
Yeah, that's true. Doesn't really have
But yeah, but then again, it's more of these references to the Dark Altar that they've been removing.
Everything about the Dark Altar is just.
I guess Ed just wants to keep it serious.
Pretty weird.
Yes, and then
I'm just reading the notes. That's some extra stuff.
Yeah, well, you continue.
So a bunch of stuff was changed. I asked Lord Ed, and he said this was just a one-time thing. Oh, he hoped so, because he just wanted to change some stuff to make it. Yeah, to basically make it better.
Yeah, as you can see, we've talked about a lot of the stuff that they changed.
Yeah. So the Lizardman village. There's a lot of new stuff here, so let's talk about that. We got chanting lizardmen priests.
Yeah, they're shamans. Shamans. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
The village. The village introduced a lot of NPC shamans. About 3 of them. One in the lizard village called Mulch, and then one near the this west where there's some ruins with a fire. You go there during one of your holidays. and you can see just there like a lizardman shaman just worshiping like fire, and in the temple itself, you can find a lizardman that you can actually talk to, who actually speaks English and all of that, and he talks about their culture, basically.
Yeah, and about Zarek, that he hasn't been there for years. Or the one I talked about, the one that wasn't there for years. So, yeah, Zarek just disappeared from the chambers of Zarek, and yeah, no one actually knows where he is, not even the shamans. But something I thought was really interesting is, I'm gonna put it up on the screen. It please doesn't crash this time.
No, you're talking about the tablet, right?
No, I'm talking about the. Like, I'm really here right now. I'm just gonna pull up a video. Show you guys. The shaman at the sea is also chanting that he has blue feathers and the blue crystals. So I was thinking.
If you look closely, the helmets they're wearing, it's very familiar.
Yeah.
If you do raids, it looks like the Olm boss.
Yeah, just like the statues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those. Yes, the statues.
Olm related. So, yeah, that's the thing. Are they like sacrificing to Olm, or just like praying to Olm, or are they happy about their master killing the Olm? Because it's not really obvious. I mean,
well,
they're
you
like
can't
really
defeated him. Is a more correct term.
Yeah, but he's
Hmm?
I mean, he's still alive, so
probably, possibly. Yes,
because
in the temple, if you when you remember me mentioning a lizardman you can talk to in the temple, in the southeast corner, there you can find a stone chest, which gives you a stone tablet, which you can read, and you'll find out the record of construction of the temple. And basically, this talks about how Zarek themselves gave the construction workers of the temple in the swamp, just tell them that drink this green liquid, and you'll be energetic and strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So eventually, read more into the tablet, you can find out that they start turning into they start becoming lizard men. So yeah.
Yeah. So I guess they were just they were first humans and then became lizardmen. But we used to think that lizardmen were just made by experiments by Lord Jazine the Seventh, right?
Yeah.
So
this is probably part of a process. Also, another process to create lizardmen.
Maybe he made the green tonic with the altar in the
red cave.
Mountain. Yeah, the red cave.
Yeah, speaking of the red cave, which I forgot to talk about. You remember in the library archive, going back there, there's a text called Armed Forces Report. Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah.
A lot in there.
Yeah. So here the offer was changed and the date that was written was changed. So rather than being the King Hosidius I requesting Lord Shazin VI, not the 7th, to conduct a review of the Shazin army, it's now Mod Ed changed it to King Hosidius V to request it to someone called Lord Rickard Shazin during the 32nd decade, which was the date that the King Hosidius V ruled. But what's interesting is the name of the new offer, Lord Rickard Shazin. So if you did the quest and you paid attention to the dialogue, if you inspected the red altar in the cave, you would hear a mysterious ghost saying a mysterious voice saying something along the lines of, "Rickard, don't do this." And
yeah.
yes, so yeah,
Oh,
Rick.
I forgot
So
that.
yeah,
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
yeah. If you instruct the altar, here's the exact quote is Rickard, turn away, don't do this. So, if that's what the voice said when you expected that altar, so I found it interesting that Mod Ed just added the name there, Lord Rickard Chazen, so to kind of like connect it.
Yeah. The grave. Yeah, I'm just searching for the things I want to talk about. The Gravedigger.
Hmm.
I'm gonna briefly talk about that one. Just gonna put that on the screen right here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what do you think the Gravedigger is? Or I mean what the Gravedigger is.
Gravedigger, the one from the memoir, right?
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, him. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really know much about him. He lost his memories after he died. But yeah, he could. If you have the dialogue, he just talks about how he heard like a woman's voice respond, but he thought it was just his hallucination. But it could be Rose, right? If everything, if all the dialogue connects to Rose in one way or another.
Because maybe the dude, or something I maybe thought, maybe the dude was already digging a grave for the father of Rose before he died, but I don't know. It could be. Yeah.
It could be, but you don't know because it seems because if you use the memoir on him, he doesn't remember anything about the conversation that he had that Rose wrote down. So it could be possible that it's not even him. It could be just a random ghost. There's a possibility.
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah. I didn't think about the Rose part because I thought maybe this guy dug the hole for the latest king that died, and that he was maybe that the Council of Elders maybe asked him to already to dig the grave. So after they killed him, he killed the king.
Current council, you mean?
Yeah, the current council. Sorry.
Yeah, elders are way before.
Yeah. So I thought maybe there was like a clue that Rose didn't do it, but yeah. Of course you hear the a woman say something.
That's if the author of the event is Rose. It could be anyone else who made up the page, the secret page.
Yeah.
It could be anyone it could be anyone who wrote it. That's what the Alyssa, the lady who you used the book on, says. She says like it could be anyone, so just tread carefully, or something. But yeah, all of this mod ed is just like hyping you up for all the future current quests.
So fucking hyped. This is the I made a video about the Chambers of Xeric, and at the end I really wanted to have a new Xeric quest just because it's so sick. I mean yeah.
They'll come to it.
Yeah,
they'll come to it.
Sure. But he could be like in Valamor. That's down south of the Mount Quidamortum lies the Kingdom of Valamor. Was made by a couple of people from Kurend that
Valamor was founded during Zarek's rule, the Age of Strife, also known as.
So I thought maybe he could have traveled there just to test his magic and such, and then he comes back to Kurend, and it could be one of the biggest and the strongest monsters that we have encountered so far because
fighting Zarek.
Like thousands of years to
OP as hell, probably
to practice. So yeah, I'm really hyped about that. I got something extra here. I got in the Lizardman Cave we have a cat. So and if you can see here. ROX.
What?
So
rocks.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe it's
It could
like
be a joke, but it could be something more.
Bob the cat, back to life.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, but I think it's supposed to read it from right to left because XR makes more sense. It's like the consonant, consonant, the Zarek. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, but that statue, as far as anybody knows, doesn't do anything. But that's where you exit the cave, exit the temple. But you have that picture of what the stone chests look like, right? Because like a transition into the picture of the stone chest that you loot from the temple.
Did I have it here? Yes.
Yeah, let me pull it up. Let's see. Shoot. Pretty sure I included that.
Yeah.
Ah, here it is. So yeah, let me just. Yep. So you can just pull that one up real quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you paid attention to the stone chests in the cave in the temple, you'll notice that the chests have some interesting symbols, which
Yeah.
this symbol is associated with the dragonkin.
Oh, we can. Yeah.
That's a symbol of the dragonkin, like the ones you saw during Dragon Slayer 2. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So what the dragonkin's all about? So this is before Zeah was called Zeah, and before the refugees left for Zeah during the God Wars. During this time, during the God Wars, before the refugees left for Zeah, and this dragonkin, who we don't know his name, he went to Zeah and went on Mount Kurum. And he went there to find some resources for his experiments, his projects. He went there not only to do that, but also to get away from his fellow dragonkin who often reject his ideas for new projects. So he goes there and he basically creates the worms, the drakes, the hydras that you know, and kill. So these are all his in his mind, but he can never pull them off because all the other dragonkin just wanted to focus on their dragons. So that's why you don't see them anywhere else. And the Hydra was one of his bigger projects that was like more original than the other two, because the worms and drakes were based on prior work of dragons, but the Hydra was a completely original work. But because it's a Dragon King experiment, it's still weak to Dragon Bane weapons like the crossbow and the lance. But the Hydra would be pretty successful when so he attempted to duplicate it. He attempted to make an enhanced version of the alchemical Hydra. So he managed to do that, but he still considered it a big failure because even though he made this big 5-headed Hydra, he found himself unable to duplicate it, and so because of this, he got frustrated, abandoned the project. But that's one of the reasons, because he can't duplicate it. But another reason is that he sensed the arrival of something else on Zeah, and this is who he observed as a Zamarakian demon, which we can pretty say with a very big certainty that it's Skotizo, because that's where he ended up. So in the notes that the Dragonkin writes, he says that Skotizo pulled an artifact and used it to summon a lot of creatures to his side, which is probably the catacombs, where the catacombs of Koran come from. And that's probably where the catacombs are, and he more about wanting to relocate to a mountain to the south. So there is only one mountain that is south of where he was in Mount Kurum, and that is Mount Quitamortem, the only mountain that's directly south of Kurum. And so it's from this there's a lizard species there that may well be key to his next project. Now, it's high. I think that passage alone is evidence enough that the Great Olm was the final creation of his project. Not only because the Olm is a species of salamander or lizard, but because it is also weak to dragon hunter weapons, which is really a big evidence that the Dragonkin also created it. But yeah, so that's pretty much the Dragonkin. So the chests you see on the temple probably are part of remains of what Zarek found, and he just decided to use them. Probably, that's speculation. And yeah. So but back to Skotiza. If you did Dragon Slayer 2 and you went off the route, you'd probably find a journal which documents Skotizo and his army of Zamorak during the God Wars. He talks about the author of the journal talks about being betrayed by Skotizo after they found the artifact in the maze that you go through during the quest. And what do you think this artifact is, T-shirt?
I think it's your main. Yeah, it's a piece of the Dark Altar. But yeah, I don't know how they or it's a crystal from the Dark Altar.
You mean it's the crystal that's altar? That big
here,
crystal
around the on the stream right now, on the one of the But in its energy, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's pretty highly implied that that's the artifact itself that Skotizo took and came to Zeah for. That's what I think. That's my theory.
Yeah, but
the Dark Altar came with Skotizo. And he used it to create the catacombs.
Yeah,
but why remains to be seen.
Yeah, why would it put the Dark Altar over here? I mean, instead of in his layer, because he's got one, but it's not as strong. I think it's not as strong as this one.
Yeah, I think where the Dark Altar, where he landed, used it to create the catacombs, but and then sometime in the future we don't know what he did, and then he somehow ends up in the deepest chamber of the catacombs, where he is today.
There's no information about that so far.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of wild theories what that is, but one of my friends told me like it's an elder artifact, and I'm like, that's a little far fetched, but we'll see.
True.
But speaking of like elder artifacts, then sometime after the Dragonkin and Skotizo coming, eventually the Tsar who left, some of these Tsar left the city and the Karamja volcano, and through means unknown made their way to Mount Parum, where they renamed themselves as the Tasakal. And so far, I think there's only 3 of them, right? I don't think there's...
only 3.
There was never any... As far as anyone knows right now, there's only 3 of them sitting in the dungeon. Yes, but you probably won't talk to them after you finish the Ascent of Arceus quest. You probably just stop talking to them. But if you do, they do say some stuff. They talk about who they are, and so they say that they serve the balance between life and death, and the player asks them serving the balance, so do they serve Guthix? And they say that no, he is a pretender, and they serve a higher power, one that is beyond our understanding when we ask them who it is. But I think but it's very good evidence through one of the unlikeliest evidences, which is the music track "Full to the Brim," which is as if you spell "full," it's it's probably
Yeah.
there's two L's, but
Yeah,
in the
true.
track, the music track itself, it's spelled with one L. That is very most likely not a typo because full is spelled F-U-L. In RS3 is an elder god, and this elder god is the one responsible for creation of the Tsar. Or
Oh, that's sick. Yeah.
yeah, so it's very I think it's very likely that the music track was spelled intentionally that way, and they're not missing an L in the word full. And when the more you talk to the Tasakal, they say that when the player asks why did they hate Lord Arceus, the Tasakal respond that we granted them knowledge for a specific purpose, but misused it. And the player asked that them, who else was there? And then all they say is that there's another, and they don't say his name. But I think it's very probable that Zarek came to the mountain and asked for the knowledge of immortality. Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think it's Zarek that because there's no one else who there's no one else that could possibly be that asked for immortality. Well, because Zarek lived way beyond the lifespan of
but
and he became immortal.
I don't know off the top of my head which how it was called by in one of the texts in the current library. It was told that Zarek died, and I mean
King Shazen died.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
he died, and by means unknown that Zarek came back and had an appearance that very much looked like King Shazen.
So I thought it was like if you're immortal, you can't be resurrected because you can die.
Yeah. So I think maybe going back to that. I think it's more probable that King Shazen the Seventh visited Satsakal and asked for this knowledge, and then he used it to resurrect himself under a new name. I think that's my theory. I think that's the most probable.
That's true, but like if you're immortal, somebody like tries to kill you, you just can't die. But other people
you take away the source of their immortality, which is more likely, like how we saw in Ascent of Arceus.
Yeah. True. But would Xeric have an incorporeal form? Because if he has an incorporeal form, just like the
Arceus people,
then that power can be taken away.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, that did happen during his exile, but he needed to find another source of power. So he used that altar in the Red Cave during the quest, Tales of Righteous, because that altar amplifies the powers of the Dark Altar. So it's during the quest, one of the Arceus people say that it's probably using this altar that allows him to remain immortal. So yeah.
Gonna check I had a script of Xeric. Just off the top of my head. So I made a video about Xeric, and it was said that he couldn't get the power from Tectown. Tectown tried to give him the power of the crystals, or teach him the power of the crystals, but he couldn't learn it. But in the end, it said when he attacked the Alm, it was said that he did build it, I think. So,
yeah, I think eventually he figured it out. Eventually, there's really no. They don't really put like timelines or anything like that.
That's probably why he doesn't need the red altar anymore.
Yeah, it's likely he'd grown beyond it. And we have a few more minutes left to go on one last thing here from the Tatty note. Yes. So if you use for going to Kabos, the CIR, you probably would walk past you probably west of you probably just go straight to Mount Room, and you wouldn't notice that the little house that's right next to it, and near the farming guild. There's a very small house there, and you probably wouldn't notice it, but in there is a bed where you can search for a note, and this note is T-shirt's pulling up right now.
Yeah, here we are.
Yep, in this little house, there's a bed you can search and find a note, which you can read what it says on the screen here. So yeah, it's a address written by someone named LO, initials LO, and written to Rose, who is probably the princess of Kuren.
Yeah.
So,
Because, yeah.
So yeah, you can see.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Do we do you want to talk about who you think is LO? That's pretty.
Well, yeah. Last night when I went and checked, all the NPCs in Korean, and there's really no one with initials with LO.
Ah, okay.
The closest one you get is Lady King. It's the closest one you get, but I don't think it's likely that it's her. But yeah, what this LO did probably is is probably partially responsible for her exile. But why did he do what he do? What did he know?
Yeah.
Yes, because he says he have chosen otherwise could have thousands. It's probably something to do with like he chose to screw over Rose, probably for a greater good, possibly. But
yeah. It could have been a civil war. Maybe if something went wrong, and thousands could have died in a civil war. But I don't think that's it. It could be something with Sarek, but what? Yeah, we don't know.
No one knows, but that's just what we think. Yeah, but yeah, that's a little tidbit that Mod Ed or Mod West puts in. They like to put these stuff in and like hope someone notices.
Yeah.
Well, I notice everything. Yeah, like
you're really thorough.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to ask one thing about this picture right here.
Which one?
Gonna be on the screen in a moment now. Yeah.
Ooh.
So this is in the lift on Mount Willem.
No, this is the elevator.
Elevator, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I actually didn't notice that. I just thought it was just a dragon symbol.
Yeah. So it's a dragon king symbol with
that's brimstone. Looks like.
brimstone ring.
Yeah, the brimstone ring has kind of looks the same as this. If you look up the brimstone ring,
I saw a design stream with
the design. Yeah, it's a common depiction of the Ouroboros symbol from which depicts a dragon eating its own tail.
Ah, it's just.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. You see two serpent heads eating its like representing a hydra. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. I actually didn't notice.
Yeah,
thanks for showing me
cool
that.
little thing, and we got the hydra right here.
Hmm.
There, okay.
Hmm.
I think
so yeah,
that's the hydra.
I think we've covered pretty much everything here that's new, and what's changed, what's new, speculations, and all that stuff. Oh my god, that's a hydra head. I didn't even see that. Yeah. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I just went around it and I saw that one. Just one little thing. I don't know if you've noticed. You probably noticed it.
Because I only noticed the dragon at the top of the lift. Dang, that's a good find. I didn't even see that.
So I got one thing I want to talk about. I know it's been an hour, but
yeah,
just this little thing. So we got a little camp over here. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I just there was no one there.
Yeah.
I checked around.
I'm just. On there. Let me check. Because I found it pretty interesting. In that. Wait, could you make? Sorry. I thought I have a picture of that one, but I didn't. I'm just gonna video. There were shoes in that camp that had high heels. So I thought it could be Rose that yeah, it could have been Rose that was stranded there. So maybe Rose is actually somewhere in that cave over there, and
Possibly.
you could be planning something. Could be pretty cool. Just here. Yeah, Dago.
Oh, you can hear that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's another
geez.
Dago.
Oh no. But yeah.
No problem. It's almost done. But yeah. So
Yeah,
I thought
so
maybe something with Rose. Maybe he also went here. I think we've
So yeah,
covered
I
everything.
think we covered basically everything here. What's new, what's old, and what's changed, all that. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in.
Hope you guys had a good hour just listening to me and T-shirt nervously talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
so,
the first stream for both of us, so that's why it's a little
Yeah,
bit
first
rocky
time.
at the start. And
Mhm.
but yeah,
Yep.
I really enjoyed it. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for
coming
tuning in.
on.
Yeah, and he'll have T-shirt will have this uploaded to YouTube. You can just listen.
Yeah.
Listen to our very nervous voices
Indeed.
forever.
This will be. I hope you want to do this more often because yeah.
Yeah, if Ed gets 2 more. Sure.
Nice. Okay, that's great.
All right. So all right.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Bye.